everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. Unfortunately it was Chatting and Painting, but this is Chatting in Cars technically just for today. It's a podcast where I talk about random topics, where I drive places. For this one, it's a one-off. Not normally. I would prefer to be in my house, but you know, this is one-off today, so it might be a long one. I'm currently driving from my house to my parents' house with Frankie in tow, because it's been a weird week. And to give it a bit of context, I don't know if you saw my last podcast. Sorry, my stutter's kicking in and I haven't had enough coffee today. My dad got rushed to hospital for emergency bowel cancer treatment. That's one. This was, I think, Thursday. My mum has been run back and forth by either myself or my brother. Just because last year she got diagnosed with Parkinson's. She also had hip surgery last year, so she can't really drive. She can drive, but she shouldn't drive, you know, because it's not really that safe. So we've been running her back and forth. Having said that, she drives from her farm to where we are, so that's not safe at all. On top of that, my sister's coming home a week early, well, coming back from the UK a week early. So what I'm currently doing, what Frankie's currently doing, is we are going to my mum's house, who has fucked her hip, basically. And we're going to go clean it and sort out a car that my sister can borrow. And run some errands for my mum as well, and just basically try and get shit on board again. So that's why it's such a long one today, and that's why we're in a car, because otherwise I would be at home painting. It's been a weird week. So we're sorting all that shit out today. I've got to run some errands, get her medication, all that kind of crap. And then tomorrow I've got to sort out some further things from my house, because Pookie's going to be staying with me for a while. And then at something like midnight or something tomorrow, Tuesday, I've got to go pick her up from the airport. So and then Wednesday drive her back to my parents' farm to pick up the car so it's been a busy week. So I'm doing everything on the go. I'm trying to snatch time where I can find it. There is disclaimers at the start of this podcast. You can tell I'm tired because I'm stuttering. There's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast, because I do talk about sensitive topics and I do swear. I'm not going to change anytime soon, quite frankly, with regards to that. It's not harming anyone. If you don't like it, you can always change your mind and change the channel. The topic for today is my Spartan project. I thought that would be a nice lengthy project to talk about, basically. Gives you some context as to why I bothered starting it. As you can see, I'm not dressed as a fairy today. I'm dressed in utility wear. I'm going to take point because my brother's looking after his family and his wife, and they're doing all appointments and stuff and holding base with Dad, so I look a bit different today with my yoga wear. So yeah, alright, so my Spartan project started in, what year was it? I think it was 2022 actually. And the reason I got really pissed off basically and did the whole fucking thing, and I took it really, really seriously, was because I got evicted. Well, we got an email through the mail. I was currently living with my ex-boyfriend, and we got an email through his email, not mine. I didn't even know it was fucking coming, that we were getting evicted on my birthday. And I think I had maybe 7,000 in savings at the time. And I wasn't really taking it seriously, and I'm just thinking, oh, if I get extra money, I can just throw it on the pile and we'll see where it goes. There's no real impetus to save at this point. If it's just extra, I just chuck it on the pile. As you do when you're broke. I'm exceedingly rich, damn it. No, I'm not. But the motivating factor, now this was the second time I would have been homeless, and I would have been homeless without actually knowing about it until the day of it happening. There's a whole story about my ex-boyfriend being a dick about getting the email and just not telling me that we were getting evicted, and me having to go and find out for myself. If you want to listen to the other podcasts, I do tend to rant about it. Other than that, let me just check the volume on that. It pissed me off, quite frankly. I think that's a fucking understatement at this point. Getting evicted for a second time, being homeless potentially for a second time, really fucking pissed me off. In a good way, though. I didn't get angry about... I was pissed off about him not telling me, because I like to prep. And I don't like... Sorry, it's very dark right now, but we will turn. And I don't like being left, you know, left hanging, basically. If some shit's going down, I want to fucking know about it. Unfortunately, he didn't deem it appropriate to tell me that we, both of us, were getting evicted. He had already sorted out where he was going, like the prick he usually is, and, you know, left me to it. It's like, because we weren't together at the time, but we were living together because we'd broken up. So I'm assuming in his pettiness he thought, oh, she doesn't need to worry about, you know, I don't need to worry about her, she's on her own, we're not together, so I don't have to bother. Not that we ever were together, quite frankly, because he didn't like labels and all this extra crap. But, you know, I thought we were together, but apparently we're not. So I was left to my own devices, and even though I didn't know he had already pre-arranged somewhere to go, so while I was looking for an apartment, I was sending him links to look for apartments as well, in case if I didn't get it, then he could get it, or something like that. He made it abundant and clear that we couldn't possibly live together, and I'm like, fuck it, whatever. So I started collecting money because I wasn't sure how much I would need to actually move in, what bond would be, and I had the money already, so it was alright. I ended up getting a very nice apartment, but I was still seething from getting evicted a second time, and it was, you know, compounded by the fact that this person who I was living with and I thought was my boyfriend decided not to tell me we were getting evicted, and it would have travelled right up to the day. I wouldn't have known, and then suddenly, you know, they would have turned up and said, why are you still fucking here? Or I would have seen him packing and gone, what the fuck? So I had about 5 weeks to find a place. Luckily, I followed my gut feeling and intuition when I felt something wasn't right, and I actually asked him what the fuck's going on. And then he forwarded me on the email saying we were getting evicted. I'm like, you bastard. We had about 5 weeks to get our shit together and get out. It was something stupid like that. So I found one, maybe in 3 weeks, I found a place, which isn't bad. It was cheap, and then the price got high. That also added fuel to the fire for my project, which I started, because I was living alone. I had an increase of $20, and then it went skyrocketing up. So I think my rent started, and it's changed every 6 months. Every time I signed a renewal for a 6-month lease, it went up. It started at $470, then it went $490, then $510, then it went up to $570, then it went up to $610, and it would have gone up another one. They wanted to push it up to $660 for a 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm like, you know what, fuck you. And that was a week. So I saw that last one coming. I'm going, look, this is ridiculous. And in Australia, they don't have caps on how much they can actually push up your rent. So that put fuel on the fire. I was pissed off. Sitting there going, where does this fucking end? Because it's only a 1-bedroom apartment. It's not that fucking great. It's nice. It's not that fucking great. So I saw that shit coming, and I'm sitting there going, you know what? I'm going to start prepping for this, because I'm never going to get evicted again. Fuck you. I knew I had an alright wage. I don't have any dependents, which was also a bit of a blessing. If you have kids, it's a lot more different. At the time, I didn't even have Frankie. So it was just me on my own, saving up and doing the Spartan lifestyle, and it worked out really well. What I initially wanted to do was remember what I had gone through as a kid and what my parents were doing to get the ball rolling, because we were born into, when I say born into, we weren't born into it, we were raised in poverty. Because of my parents' life decisions, basically. And, you know, it sets you up for a certain kind of mindset. You definitely want to survive. But at the same time, you're sitting there thinking, I can't get attached to anything. There's no point getting attached to anything, particularly material, because inevitably it will break and I won't be able to replace it, or it will get stolen, I won't be able to replace it. So I went very thrifty, very Spartan, and tried to remember what we used to do when we were kids. The first thing I considered was what my income was, and to be honest, what I needed to do was drive that up and increase it as much as I could. I needed as many revenues of income as I could. And I looked around to see what other people were doing, as you should. It's called research. I have my basic wage from my teaching job, which was okay. It was relief at the time, so it's good if you can get it. Luckily enough and gratefully enough, I could get it. On paper with the bank, it was still a bit iffy though. So I had to start looking at, I'd already started a business. I have 2 eBay stores. I have, what else is there? I'm trying to think. A Teachers Pay Teacher store, which is where you make resources and you sell them online to other teachers, and they pay for like a dollar or 50 cents for a worksheet you've made or some shit like that, which is all right. It's not huge amounts of money, but it's okay. I've got 2 eBay stores, one of which I sell my paintings in, which are not great, but they sell. And the other, I have my other store, which is stuff I've made or I've found in thrift stores or, you know, op shopping, stuff like that. Whatever I've got that's excess. Like if someone hands me old clothes that they don't want, I'll have a flick through, see if they're any of them good, and I'll try and hook them on eBay. These are cases usually of people saying, I can't be asked dropping my shit to an op shop. Can you do it? Or do you want these to sell? And I definitely will grab them, and I'll have a look at them, and I'll photograph them and list them and all that shit. You can start an eBay store for free. I think if it's 30 listings, it's free. If you want to add, it's not a store, it's just using it. If you want to start a store, the basic fee I think is something like 27 or 28 bucks for a month, whereas you have an actual platform to sell your shit on. And I've got 2 of them, so I pay about 60 bucks a month in listing fees, which is not bad if you're willing to make a decent turnover on it. TPT, I think you pay, which is Teachers Pay Teacher, you only pay about 80 bucks a year. Sorry, that sun's up right there. But people will buy your stuff throughout the year, so eventually you'll make a profit. You might pay an upfront fee of 80 bucks, but you sell stuff out throughout the year. So it makes up for it and then some, if you've got enough stuff to sell. On top of that, I was collecting cans. I lived in an apartment block where there was a communal bin area for recycling. So I used to scurry down there with my bag, go and collect cans, because no one else was doing it. I'm like, hey, free cans. I still wander around sometimes while I'm walking Frank and go, if I see a can, I'll grab it and I'll chuck it with my load and I'll take them into the 10-cent place. You know, pretty much the land is food, so if you're looking around, you see something that's useful, use it. Don't, you've got people looking at you like you're crazy, but I'm like, dude, I just bought a house in 2 years, fuck you. I will do the crazy shit if it gets me where I need to get to. At this point, it's not that crazy. I mean, it's recycling and it's utilizing your assets if you find them, so it's not a problem. It's only those people that are pretentious that will find something like you wandering around collecting cans and stuff like that and go, ew. You sit there and go, I don't care, you're still paying rent, I got a house. So you need to prioritize what you want to do over what you think other people will think of you. I used to go up shopping as well. I used to find stuff in the op shop. You want to look for like clothes that are name brand stuff you can resell, or you know, weird knickknacks and DVDs and old games for PlayStations and stuff like that, because people don't want to pay 50-60 bucks for new games. Because unless they absolutely want them, because it's just ridiculous. Whereas you can go to like an op shop like Salvo's or Samby's and you can buy a game for like $5, hook it on eBay. There's a lot of things like that. Besides that, that was my revenue I wanted to get in. I was constantly looking around for other ways of making money and trying to bolster what I already had. My goal was to put away $1,500 a fortnight. And I managed it most times, with the exception of like months where I had to pay for car servicing, which is like $400 or $500, or car registration, or boosts in rent where you had to up the bond and stuff like that. Always big bills. I didn't get a chance to, but you know. On top of that, I looked at where I was leaking funds in terms of things like electricity use, water use. I didn't have gas, thankfully. I had electric, but you know, that would have been another thing to consider. Anything like bills like my phone or my internet, I looked to bundle them. So I had 2 separate internet bills. I had an internet and a phone bill separately, and then I bundled them in Vodafone. So now instead of paying something like $80 for the internet and $50 for a phone, I don't know if that's realistic, I now pay $90 a month for both phone and my internet. So you need to look for deals which are going like that. Most companies will have it because it means that they've got more loyalty on you. That was my internet. My hot water system, I was trying to save electricity. I went through the whole solar panel stuff kind of thing, but I couldn't find a solar panel thing that was cost effective and actually charge things like devices well. So in the end, I just sort of avoided using them. If I could, I would charge them at work, or I would charge them at someone else's house. So I was essentially pilfering electricity to charge things. As long as I wasn't paying the bill. No, it's not my problem. But you know, you go to these free places like libraries and stuff like that, you can charge your stuff for free. They don't care. It's all paid by the council. You pay your fees, you pay your taxes, go and use the internet, go and use, you know, the electricity, go charge your shit if you can be bothered making the trip. Other than that, you could go to McDonald's, use their Wi-Fi. Places like that will often have things to try and draw customers in. All you have to do is get like a Diet Coke or something like that. Pretend you've actually bought something of significance and just sit there. It's like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm drinking my drink. They don't give a shit as long as you bought something. It could be the cheapest thing on the menu. They don't give a fuck. I used to like buying coffees when I was out. I stopped doing that. I would give myself, I used to allow myself to have a coffee a week, like a Saturday thing, because it was always like $6. The size I wanted was like $6. But I since found that you could go to places like 7-Eleven and get it for $3, same size. People are like, oh, it's shit coffee. It's like, dude, I'm willing to take the hit. It's not that shit, actually. It's quite decent. The only problem I could see with getting shit coffee would be places like Muzz Buzz, where it tastes like ferret piss. And I don't know what they're doing to their beans, but it was foul. So you should always be looking around for alternatives, which may be cheaper alternatives. There's odd places like you wouldn't think to look as well. I consolidated all my electricity. Instead of having my devices off all around the house, I got a multi-tap in the main point of my house, right next to my TV, and I put my phone charger, my phone charger, TV, internet, anything like that. I kept it in the one place if I could. Everything else that was plugged in, say like microwaves, stuff like that, I turned off at the wall, because even keeping on the light to your microwave or keeping a hot water system running, I turned it off at the thing on the wall. I turned it off. Not the mains, but the thing next to it, the circuit. I turned that off unless I was using it 30 minutes beforehand. Because otherwise that hot water system would sit there boiling your hot water all day just so you have it instantly. So I stopped doing that. It saved quite a bit money, actually, funny enough, not having that constantly going. I saw on my electric bill that it dipped a chunk. Not a hell of a lot, but you know, enough to know that I've made some money on that. And it seems a bit odd, so I feel sorry for anyone that might want to live with me, going, oh, these are the things I do. I won't be doing it to this extreme level in the future, maybe, I don't know, because, you know, there's just no need to at this point. I already have a roof over my head. But the thing is to break the convenience of the situation, to just leave things running because it's just easier rather than going around and mindfully turning things off. People get so used to the convenience of the situation where they just piss money down the drain because they can't be fucked turning things off or putting things away or, you know, looking elsewhere for a better deal or something like that. I was using, and I still am using, when I do my washing, I've got 2-litre bottles, old bottles of fabric conditioner, except I'm using the concentrate, which is something like $1.50 or something for one of those squidgy concentrate tube things where you cut the edge and you add water to it, as opposed to something like $7 or something for actual softener, like a fresh bottle. Saves money significantly. As a sanitizer, I also use like a cap full of eucalyptus oil diluted in water in the same kind of bottle, so it's a 2-litre bottle, and that lasts me a good couple of weeks. I was using whatever hand soap or you know, like whatever liquid I could find that was soapy, and I was experimenting with my actual clothes to see what would get it clean. Because I used to get the it was like a 5-liter drum sort of handle thing of, was it Purity? It was like the cheapest. It was the cheapest of the cheapest, and it didn't fuck with my eczema. So sexy as it is. But I was using that, and it was something like $13 or $15 for a 4-liter drum of this laundry concentrate. And in the end, I ended up just using dishwashing liquid, which I'm currently doing now. If anyone gives me like free hand soap or anything like that, I'll use it instead. But if it's the same shit. I swear it's the same shit. But I'm using dishwashing liquid, which is like a liter. At the moment, the brand I'm using is Shine. It's the cheapest of the cheap. It's a liter for $1.49, and I just squidge it in just liquid soap and put in my sanitizer and my laundry the softener concentrate squidgy pack stuff that I made up. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper than going for the, you know, official convenience pre-made bottled stuff. I don't like the powders because it leaves a residue on my clothes, and to be honest, it burns my skin. Things like Omo and stuff like that. As soon as you start sweating, you'll get like hives rash under that kind of stuff, so I don't like doing that. The dishwashing liquid doesn't seem to have that much problem with that, so I've been using that instead. It seems to work. On top of that, I've also been using it for body wash. If you clean the dishes, you can clean me. Again, $1.49 as opposed to the what, $5 or $6 you'd pay for like a pump action, whatever it is, squidgy bottle. It's getting used to not having the exactly what you want stuff. It's like, I don't mind that I smell like lemons afterwards. I might go for apple next time, or even berry. But you know, but it's the functionalism of the situation I thoroughly enjoyed. It seems a bit silly. It's a bit Mr. Bean, really, his old school stuff where he's like trying different things, trying to make stuff work. But it's the functionalness of getting clean, and in a pleasant way. Like, I could be using any number of other things that will get me clean, but fucking horrible. And you shouldn't. And who's gonna know? So, who comes to your house and starts judging you on your body wash? So I don't know. It's been fun. It's getting over your own pride and saying this is a bit weird. Maybe a little bit embarrassing at times. You're sitting there picking up cans and you sit there and think, why am I doing this? It's 10 cents. And then you think, no, wait a minute, I've got to go. And it's putting, you know, showing humility. You want something, the universe will provide it for you, providing you show some humility and ingenuity and some balls in getting what you want. You got to go and get it yourself. Right, Frankie? He's not well again. Anyway, I think he's got kennel cough, but he's in and out. He's better, and he's not in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take him to the vet tomorrow. So that's my next job. Not today. Today's my mum's house and car and errands, and it keeps going. Groceries. I already had a chest freezer because since childhood we had some form of a chest freezer where we just stored everything. I started bulk buying when everything was on sale. Unfortunately, yes, I did shop at Woolworths. Ever since, I've been thinking, what the fuck are you doing with your prices? I'm less than impressed. But at the same time, I was bulk buying. I was collecting the points, which are like nectar points if you go to Tesco, but they're not. They're Woolworths rewards, and they were doing $10 off for every 2,000 points you spend. Hello, baby. I don't know if you can see him. He's just here. It was $10 off for every 2,000 points, and I just ended up saving my stuff for Christmas time. And I did a mass bulk buy when everything was on sale because they were still trying to get rid of their frozen vegetarian stuff. Or I would buy some things for like Christmas chocolates and stuff like that. And not last year, but the year before, I had, I think, about $290 worth of bonus points just saved up. So like $300 worth of shopping. Now my shopping in a week doesn't come to, it usually comes to about $30 or something like that, because I'll buy eggs and fresh salad leaves, and then it'll be like maybe apples or carrots or something to snack on. everything I've got usually is saved in that chest freezer, and I just take it out as like a rationed amount. Or it's dry stockpiled in my downstairs basement kind of storeroom in the garage. It's cold down there, so it doesn't go off, so it works. So if I need to collect, like if I want to get the points up, I will bulk buy stuff I know I can store, which doesn't go off. Canned goods, cleaning things, toilet paper if you can find it, stuff like that. And you just work through your stock. It's basic stockpiling, it's resource management. I don't mind doing that. If I've got someone coming over, like I've got my little sister coming over tomorrow night from the UK, I'll get some non-regulation stuff in for her because she's not used to my weird ways. I know that she has things like soy milk and stuff, and I've got to go find some bread and stuff. But everything, my resources as well, when I did buy them, I was using gift cards, because Woolworths has a deal with something like Wish or something like that, where you can buy a gift card through their site, through the app. You get a 3% discount. So if it's something like $500, you get $15 discount, something like that. My maths is off today. $15 off it. And then you also get something, there was also a deal regularly running where you get 6 times the points for buying gift cards. So 6 times $500, what's that? 3,000 points. 3,000 points is another $15 already off it. So you save $30 on this one gift card, which I then used at the till to buy already discounted items on sale in bulk. So it's like a triple discount at one point. I was sitting there and I was fucking loving it. I was like, I'm playing the system. As long as you've got somewhere to store it, you should be alright. So you got to look out for things like that. If I was in America, I would be dying to try the couponing thing. They got extreme couponing. I'd love to do something like that. It would be fun. Scary, but fun. What else is there? I was doing food, clothes, things like clothes. I set myself a budget of $500 a year for clothes, which I saved up over the year, and then at the start of the year, January, I would go on my I would go on my, I love it when they come shooting out like that. I would buy my work clothes from the op shops, because you know my work clothes are teaching clothes. They're going to get covered in glue and snot and shit, and you know, my kids destroy my clothes. I went through a phase when I first started teaching where I was buying all these nice, you know, little suit dresses and high heels and all this kind of shit. It lasts about 3 months, and they get covered in paint and glue and shit and snot, and then you sit there and go, I just spent so much money on this, there's no point. So I go to op shops, buy clothes that I can readily destroy and not feel bad about. And I think my last clothes bill came up to like $50 for all my work clothes for last year. And I'm like, sweet, I got $450 used. I will buy things like underwear. To be honest, I bought my underwear, bras and things in the New Year's sale. I bought it online because I knew there was a discount, and I shipped it to the store to save on postage. I also got my underwear, dare I say it, my mini V's. I got them from eBay, and they worked out even cheaper than bras and things. And I don't like going to like Kmart and shit because for underwear and stuff, because it's just low quality. Funny enough, eBay was actually better this time. And they did a deal where you could buy something like 3 for the price of 2 or something like that. There's always a deal going on eBay. You should always look for the extra coupons that are in the search for Bing or anything like that. You should always look for those. I did a mass buy of underwear. I did a bra. Usually I'm doing these things, if it's a bigger number, like over $100, I'll be spending, I'll use the pay in 4 through PayPal, knowing you have to know that you're going to get paid again soon, because they'll break that payment up into 4 payments over 2 months. There's no point racking up these debts if you don't know if you're going to be able to pay them, because you'll send, it's the equivalent of credit card debt, except there's no credit, but they will come after you after the 2 months and say, where the fuck's our money? But as long as you know that you can pay it off, like with my nutrition as well, I was buying protein powder, green powder, and pre-workout from Bulk Nutrients. I was paying something like $500 at a time, every 3 months or something like that, because I go through whey protein instead of using meat or fish or anything like that. I'm a vegetarian. So I'll eat eggs and protein powder, and that will be my protein source. But I was doing those split payments through Paid For, and it came up to something like $125 every fortnight, which isn't bad, considering I'm making about $450 a day if I manage to get to work. So I didn't mind paying that. So I was able to break down the costs of things. Protein bars, I went looking through Chemist Warehouse, so I always go looking through there for anything like supplements or protein stuff. I wouldn't bother with the protein powders because they're overpriced and it's brand stuff. I went through bulk nutrients because it was cost effective and it got shipped to my door and I can buy it in actual bulk. Because I'm buying like 10 kilos at a time and it arrives in this big crate and you're like, I'm definitely going to use it. And don't buy it if you're not going to use it, because there's no point saying, oh, I might use it. You actually will be wasting money if you don't. But it was good because I did the Paid For, so I was chuffed. As long as I knew I was going to get through it, I was fine. I chose vanilla flavor for that one because I can mix it with everything. You can make anything out of vanilla, protein shake wise. Just add mint essence or cocoa powder or coffee, like espresso shot from the machine or some shit like that. You can always alter it. If you get sick of the vanilla taste, you just add stuff to it. What else was there? Protein bars I ended up paying, because I like a particular brand now, a protein bar. It's shredded or shred or something like that. It's a red wrapper. And that works out, if you go through Chemist Warehouse, you get 10 bars for a 10% discount or 5 bars for a 5% discount. And I got 10 obviously because it's a better deal. But I also got them when they're on sale, so they're usually something like $3.99 a bar. I got it for $2.79 a bar, and it just really knocks down the price. You got that 10% discount on 10, and it's already on sale. So I was paying something like, I think $50 something for like 30 of them. I can't do the maths right now, my brain's not working, but the discount was definitely there. And I would ration those out one a day as a protein boost and as a treat as well, because it's a chocolate bar essentially, but it's got protein. And I do have a sugary craving. I mean, I don't do anything else. I was lucky in that I don't have any other bad habits sort of thing. So things like drinking, smoking, drugs. I do need to curb my impulse buying, because it's now a case of, what if I do need it? Which is why I took my $10 note I found the other day and I bought something like 6 hair clips in the off chance. But I stockpiled them on my hair box. So I'm like, it still works, it's still good. And I got that from Red Dog. So that wasn't that bad. What on top of that? You need to consider what you can actually use in the future and what can be repurposed for other things as well. I think the dishwashing liquid was probably the best example of that. For dishes, I have it for clothes liquid, I have it for shower. I also use it for cleaning surfaces and floors. I clean my car with it. Funny enough, I clean the dog with it. Don't get it near their eyes though, it does hurt. But it's the repurposing of things that people would assume is only meant for one purpose, but actually you can use it for a few things, but you've got to be smart about it. Don't just give it a go and hope that it works. I mean, you're not going to sit there and try and wash yourself in bleach because that will burn your ass off. It just doesn't make sense. You've got to be using your common sense while you're at it. Things like my fuel bill, my petrol bill I should say, I specifically stuck to Tuesdays because that was meant to be the cheapest day according to the apps, because there's apps you can download on your phone which will show you like a graph of what the cheapest days are from particular places you want to go to. I was going through Ample. No, it wasn't. Was it Ample? I think it's whatever the Woolworths was, because I wanted to collect the points. I was going through them. I changed it to I think it's United or something like that, and filling up on a Saturday instead, because the points I was getting from Woolworths from the petrol weren't really as worth the actual discount I was getting by simply just buying a cheaper petrol. So you need to be mindful of things like that. It's like, yes, you've got the points, loyalty points option, but unless you're buying like vast quantities of petrol, it's not going to be really worth it. And if you are going to do that anyway, you might as well go for the cheaper petrol. I think it was optional, or it might shopping, come back, fill it up, top it up actually, because it never got past halfway, and then that would last me the week. Whereas if I was doing it on a Tuesday, I would have to do it after work and go find a place and then come back, and yeah, it wasn't that great. If you're just sort of gung-ho about that, you'll be paying way too much in petrol anyway, and it does mount up. You think it's nothing, it's like 2 or 3 or 4 cents, but ultimately over the span of a year it's better to have it yourself than to give it to someone else, or rather another business. What else can you use? I loved op shopping. I still go up shopping just because I like the weird stuff. I didn't get to the point where I needed to go to things like food banks again like I did when I was a kid. I was grateful for that. You need a healthcare card from Centrelink or the welfare place to actually go and get groceries from a food bank now. You need to prove that you can't afford food. Never mind that you might be working 3 jobs, paying all the bills, but not being able to buy food if you can't prove. Yeah, it's weird. Within that, my grocery bills, I stockpiled dry goods, so things like rice. I went through a phase where I wanted to stockpile pasta, but I don't actually like eating pasta that much. So I was doing rice, canned beans, canned chickpeas, things like that. I'm trying to think what else. I've got dried milk powder, which I don't prefer it to fresh milk. I do prefer fresh milk. At the same time, dried milk powder lasts longer. It doesn't go off. You can stockpile it in your little storeroom in like bags of 1 kilo and make it up as you need it. I've got coffee beans. I don't like instant coffee, it tastes like shit, so I would rather get the beans myself, and I researched where to find them that was the cheapest. Sometimes Amazon, sometimes, even though they're the devil, they do deals where you can get like 4 bags for like 1/4 the price or something like that. So I took them up once on that, although I will say the delivery is not safe. They just tend to dump it on your doorstep and run. I don't like that, so I didn't trust that system again. Considering I lived in an apartment block where anyone could have fucking taken it, and I'd spent about $200 at the time because I bulk bought. So I thought, fuck that, I'm not doing that again. There wasn't even any kind of like leave a card and come get it sort of thing. It was just like, we're just gonna leave it, deal with it. It's like, what? $200 just sitting there. You bastard. So I did that. That was interesting. It was an eye-opener. I've never bought from Amazon before, but I did one time and I didn't like it, so I'm not doing it again. Fuck that. It's not safe. There's lots of things you could do. A coffee bean, I ground them myself. I did get a travel cup, just a cheap one from like Kmart. Most of my life is either spent in like Kmart, Red Dot, op shops, just cheap places. I love cheap places. I love shit where you can make it yourself and customize it yourself physically with your hands and stuff. I got given a gift card last year from one of my kids for $30 from Myers. Myers is one of these fancy places. And I was looking on the website, sitting there thinking, how can I utilize this gift card? Because I don't want to waste $30. I bought a diffuser, like a reed diffuser, because there was nothing there. There's nothing functional in these expensive shops. I'm sitting, what the fuck is this for? I'm sitting there going, oh, surely I could get, I don't know, even if it's just like candles or something, but like one candle was $30. I'm going, fuck no, I'll just go to Red Dot. I can get 100 candles for that. So it's like, I think it's the fanciness. I think at that point you'd be buying the name brands and assuming that it's better. But you know, it's not a very functionless way to view it. It's you can get this one candle, or you can go to Red Dot, you can get 6 packs of candles and be fine. For my electric, I would also switch to candles, funny enough. I shut down whatever I wasn't using, and the lighting, I switched from using the main lights. Because for some reason, everywhere I went these days, they've got like, not one light bulb on the roof, but like 5 spotlights. And you sit there, why do I need 5 fucking spotlights for one room? So I ended up buying a lamp, a standing lamp from Kmart. I think it cost me about $10. And I plugged it in the wall and used that instead of the main lights. It was just ridiculous. I don't need 5 fucking lights. It sounds very cheap, doesn't it? But it was the amount you were spending on just using those 5 lights, and they were heated lights as well, so they're heating up the house in summer, and it was a nightmare because there was I can't stand driving with these people. Anyway, I've just seen you've got one car merging, a lorry in front of me, and another car just boxed him in at the merge point. Arseholes. Just arseholes. But no, you shouldn't be wasting electric. There's no point in. And to be honest, I preferred the candles because, not because the risk of burning the house down, but because the light wasn't as piercing as even the lamp at this point. I prefer the candles. So it would get to a point where if it was early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I need to be up, I'd use the lamp because I'd be going to the gym at that time as well. I'd use the lamp to get up, get myself together, go to the gym, come back, and then I'd go to work, and then I'd go do whatever I need to do after work. So there were always errands or extra work or something like that. And I would use candles from about 6 p.m. onwards because it was just, I didn't need the light, and I needed some light, but not like piercing light where I needed to concentrate, and it was just more cost effective. Plus it also helped my brain slow down and go into more relaxed mode. So it was actually helping my sleeping patterns as well, because it wasn't this piercing white light that kept me awake and alert. It was like a warm golden kind of glow, and your brain sort of gets sleepy, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to sleep well tonight. Things like any kind of medications I take for my anxiety, for example, I was also bulk buying. I don't actually have proper medications prescribed by a doctor. I will say that. I think I'm the only one in my family who doesn't have medications like that. I have the pill. And even then I managed to get it cheap from either Priceline or Chemist Warehouse as well. You take prescription in, you ask for the generic version, not the name brand, and it's the same shit. But my supplements I was buying in bulk from Chemist Warehouse or Kohl's. Kohl's has a lot of discounts. Every now and again they'll do everything in their supplements and vitamins section for like half price, and then you bulk buy. It might be a huge payment, but if you do like a click and collect, you can also do a pay in 4. I think through PayPal. I think it's available. Yeah, I think I've done that before. And you might end up with like 20 bottles, and you go to pick them up through the front desk or from the direct to boot. They look at you like you're crazy, and you sit there and think, sorry, I go to the gym. Fitness fanatic. Kinda. But it's a lot cheaper, even just than ordering from an actual supplement shop online. You think if you're going to a shop that specifies in supplements, then it would be cheaper because it's probably wholesale or direct from the maker, but it's not. That's why I went to Kohl's. That's about it for why I went to Kohl's, unless I used my Flybuys card and I accumulated that. See, Flybuys does like a 2,000 points for $10 as well, so I was going, if I went to places like Bunnings, I'd tap my card, and I ended up using it a few times to get $10 where I would buy eggs from Kohl's this week instead of from Woolworths using my gift card credit. It's a whole system. It was really good actually. And it worked out really well. It wasn't bad. I didn't feel particularly bad. I mean, it would have driven someone nuts if they lived with me, to be honest. But yeah, it was fantastic. I had fun. I was rationing out my meal, which is essentially just meal prep, and I was doing that anyway, but I was rationing out my bulk bought stored foods. So my scram was it was basic, very basic. Because I'm a vegetarian, I was buying corn, Quorn, in bulk when it was discounted, and I was sticking in my chest freezer, and I've got like little plastic containers, just Tupperware-ish kind of things that I got from Reject Shop. 6 of them. Actually 10 of them, because I did a 10 a lot. I'd buy the bulk diced vegetables for something like $3 for a kilo. It's just cheap vegetables, Woolworths own. 100 grams of that in each container, and a portion, half a box or half a bag of whatever the corn thing was. So if it was a fillet, it would be a fillet. Or if it was the sausages, Linda Carney sausages, it would be like 3 sausages, or if it was 2 patties, it would be 1 patty. So it was whatever the half of the box was. On top of that, I was having 3 eggs. I used to have 4, but I sacrificed an egg $5 pizzas anymore, so I had to stop that. Which is a bit of a shit. Fuck you, Domino's. You cheap bastards. But you know, it's alright because you know, it wasn't too bad. But I at least had something to look forward to. When they stopped doing $5 pizzas, I moved on to something else. What was it? I moved on to making my own frozen meals. I was tempted to do the buying takeaway in bulk and then subdividing it and freezing it. I was tempted to do that as the cheap meal, which could also work because I used to, back when I was getting out of debt. So I don't know if you've been listening to the podcast. When I left my ex-husband, I was in 10 grand in debt, homeless, and living in my dead granddad's house because my parents wanted me to renovate it. Fucked up year. When I was doing that, I would get the $5 pizzas. That was good. And it was something to look forward to, sort of pull you out of that slightly morbid life circumstances. It was okay. But I would freeze my own meals and stuff like that. I bulk made meals and froze them. Not everything freezes. Pancakes don't freeze. They just don't. They go like little hockey pucks. And it's horrible because they don't defrost properly. What else doesn't freeze? There's a lot of stuff that doesn't freeze. I had to learn by trial and error there. Protein, trying to make your own protein ice cream doesn't freeze that well either. Unless you eat it within like an hour of it being made or something like that. If you leave it for a week, it just goes solid. You're like, I'm not doing that again. It's good, and you got to look for ways to entertain yourself as well that are, you know, cost effective. I used to send myself on little missions. I like walking. I'm weird that way. If I lived anywhere that was, you know, I suppose mountainous or something like that, I'd be hiking probably, or something like that. You know, as long as I had someone safe to go with. But I like walking, and I can go for hours. I just put the music in, get a drink if I can to walk with, and just go. So I'd send myself on these little missions, and it would be just to go for an hour and a half, walk down to the shops to go get $1 bottle of fizzy, diet fizzy or something like that. And it keeps your brain occupied, gives you something to do, and it's also stress relief. If you're in debt like I was, I'm in debt now, but it's good debt. If that makes sense. I still owe my parents $26,000, but that'll be gone by the 1st of October. It was 40 from last October, 1st of October, but that's just because I wanted to borrow money off them to bump up my house so I could get what I wanted specifically. The circumstances were I could have the house, I could have a single bedroom apartment like I had rented, with what I had buying wise, or I could borrow a bit more money from my parents, no interest. And it is difficult to borrow from them anyway, there's a whole backstory there, and pay it back to them on a fortnightly basis with just half of my pay going to them. So whereas before, when I was saving for the house, it was $1,500 going towards my savings, it's now a case of $1,500 going to them and a mortgage instead of rent. And the mortgage is cheaper than the rent, so it works out. And that'll be gone by 1st of October. But I had the choice of 1-bedroom apartment in a nice-ish area, fancy area. It was a pretty fancy area. Or it was a 2-bedroom apartment somewhere less fancy but newer and would build up and appreciate in value. So I went for the latter. So now I've got a spare bedroom for when my sister Pookie comes over tomorrow night. Alright, Frankie? Which is better value as well if you want to rent it out. A 1-bedroom apartment usually doesn't make as much as a 2-bedroom apartment, which is what my intention in the future is to eventually buy another one and then rent this one out as an investment property. I've got a whole series of events going on in my head, and I've mapped them all out, and I'm looking forward to my next couple of projects, and just powering on, so plodding on. So I'm going to be carrying on these sort of things as much as I can. buy 2 or 3 packs of like the 8 heads, bulk buy, send it through the post. Or if I was able to find it in like the reject shop or anything like that, I would look there. I don't think what else. Healthcare cover, I have got HBF. It is nothing fancy, it's the essentials, which basically covers my contact lenses and any dental I need. It's got extras, but I inquired recently what those extras are, and then they're like, well, we can only really cover you for appointments. It's like, well, what's the point of them being on my fucking thing? So I'm going to start looking at that, seeing if I can reconfigure that, see what I can do with that, maybe get rid of or change it for another one, because I still need my contact lenses. But as it is, if I am only getting my contact lenses, and I think I pay something like $540 a year annually, because it's only the essentials. It's nothing like what my brother's got, where he's got all his kids on, him and his wife as well, and it's some ridiculous amount each month. It's about $300 a month or something like for private healthcare. Mine's just the essentials. If I can't, I'll probably get rid of it, to be honest, because it's $500 odd a year that I'm paying into $20 a fortnight. When realistically, my contact lenses only come up to about $200. So it's like, I'm gonna have to rethink about that as well. Where my bills are going, what's mine coming from. I was lucky this last year in that the government handed out a load of electricity bonuses because the cost of living crisis. Now, I don't use a lot of electricity. I wasn't using electricity for the last 2 years, basically. Not a lot of it, if that. So when we got these bonuses, it was really useful. As I said in my previous podcast, I think it was, I just recently checked how much I have in credit on my electricity account, because I've set up a $30 debit each fortnight, thinking I use about $30 in electric each fortnight. I'll future deposit into my account. I looked recently, I had about $700 in electricity credit. I'm going, oh fuck, okay, because I didn't use the bits that the government had given us, so I was just automatically kept paying into my account, just in small increments rather than waiting for the bill to turn up and panicking. That was helpful. So I suspended my debits up until March 1st, so I'll use up some of that money that's in the account already, and I'll free up some funds for sending off somewhere else. It was useful. I'm trying to think what else. Some things were unavoidable, like my teacher's registration. That was $80 a year, $90. It's nearly $100 just to say you're a teacher and you can work. That's ridiculous. Teacher's registration. And I think there's another one as well on top of that, just to say you belong to the Teachers Association in WA. So you're paying fees to a place so you can say that you have actually done the work and been qualified for the position, which is stupid, because they're screaming out for teachers at this point and saying we can't get teachers, and then you have to constantly justify why you think you are a teacher. It's fucking retarded. You'd think they'd be grateful. A bit like an Assassin's Guild, you have to pay your funds to belong to the guild. But, you know, it was unavoidable, and it meant that I could work. Anyway, when I was getting my car serviced, now they are cheeky fuckers. They will present you with a list of things that you could potentially get done. I went in for just a regular service. They would then call me back and say, look, this is what's happening with your car. This is what we recommend. And you need to go back and actually check that list, double check that list to see if it actually is stuff that needs doing, or is just something convenient for them to make money. For example, I've only had this car a few years. It's paid off because I had to pay it off to get the house. At the same time, they were adding things on like, we suggest you get your rear wipers changed by us, $50. I'm like, first of all, I've used them twice. I know that because I never use them. There was other things, like there was only integral things that I knew needed doing, like wheel alignments. If you got new tires, that's important to get, because otherwise it'll fuck up the traction on your car. What you can do yourself, you should do yourself. Basically, I can take even that to like Auto Masters, which is like a cheap car place, and they pay $15 for a rear view wiper, and they'll change it for you for free. So why are they charging $50 if you can go to this place place and get it for 15 and they'll change it for you for free. It's you got to look around and try and look for the pitfalls and what they're trying to make money off of. Anything mechanical on the car, for example, if my dashboard is fucked, I will not touch. Like, that is a you problem. I would trust you guys know what you're doing. Ooh, later. But things like we changed your what's the spray thing that cleans the window, the water in the special spray. You can do that yourself. You just put water in and some Windex. it's not hard. You lift your bonnet, you check your water levels, you check your oil levels. You can do that yourself. You cool it, check your tires, check your tread on your tires. You can do that. All these things will collectively they will charge you if you take it into a place just to check. Why are you charging me just to look at these things? It's like, I can do this myself. I will tell you what needs doing. So make yourself competent in using your own equipment. Otherwise, they will find a way to charge you for the convenience of getting someone else to do it. That's another thing they like to drag you down for. Self-sufficiency is key. I was lucky in that I know how to change a tire, I know how to check my oil, I know how to do all the extra bits and pieces. That would be ridiculous reasons to charge, because you can't do them yourself. It was like when I was renovating my house, my first apartment, the one I lost to my ex-husband because we had to get rid of it because we got divorced. He had trashed it on the way out, and I had to renovate myself using my money. I'm not qualified to renovate houses, but I didn't really have a choice because I couldn't afford someone to do it for us. Just doing the bathroom alone, I got quoted at something like $5,000, and I was thinking, I don't have $5,000. I am 10 grand in debt. What the fuck am I going to do with this? That's just the bathroom. So I ended up renovating the bathroom myself. Just going to Bunnings and getting what I could, trying to figure it out that way, problem solving. I relaid the floor. The floor was scuffed and trashed. It was vinyl planks, so I just, I put vinyl planks right over the top. Didn't make a difference. So I was sitting there going, look, I'm not pulling all this shit up. Lay it over the top, we'll do it again. Luckily it wasn't carpet or anything, so I don't know how to lay carpet. But it's doing what you can. Self-sufficiently is the best way. I actually had quite a good time renovating that house because, I used it as part of my sort of physical therapy with my divorce and everything that was going on at the time. I would get a coffee, just a cheap coffee, like McDonald's for like $3. I'd have my music playing whilst I was renovating Bob's house, or I wasn't renovating Bob's house, my dead granddad's house. I was renovating my apartment so I could sell it. And I was just laying down these floor tiles, I think it was at the time. Yeah, I did planks the first time, and then I did tiles, vinyl tiles over the top of that because I couldn't be fucked lifting them. They stuck really well. But I was laying those out again. And it was just really relaxing because you're left to your own thoughts. And you feel a lot more confident in yourself knowing that you can do these things yourself as well. So rather than have to get someone else to do it. As a bonus with the apartment I just bought, they put new carpets through as part of the deal. So I'm like, sweet, one less thing to worry about. But there were a few things I had to tweak in it. I had to fix one of the shower heads because it was a previously rented apartment. And one of the tenants had broken it, basically, snapped the head. I repainted some of the cupboards because they were just minging. It was like just little aesthetic things. It was nothing as serious as what had happened to my first apartment. Just making it nice here. The structure was there, but I just wanted to make it a little bit nicer. So you should be looking for ways to do things yourself rather than relying on, getting people out to do it for you. Unless it's something really serious like retiling a bathroom or something like that. I couldn't do that to save my life, I don't think. But I did re-grout my own showers, which was easy. and there's a countless number of free YouTube videos and stuff like that online to help you with that kind of thing. If you don't know what you're doing, go and look online. But it's a skill set to have. And maybe the next one I buy will need something else, and it might be another skill I'll need to learn. So I'm looking forward to that kind of thing. I don't mind laying floors again, to be honest. I think I would have fun. It was easy enough, and it was relaxing as well. There's a few things I want from my next apartment. And I think one of them is a bit of grass for Frank, because at the moment he's going out some ridiculous hour just to go pee, and I don't like taking him out at that time. I'm going, I just send, next want to have a little bit of a garden or something I can just stick you outside with and then come back in again. But no, it was a blast. I had fun with it, Spartan project. I got up to 100,000. I got up to 60,000, borrowed 40 from my parents. So I had 100,000 to lay down for the apartment. I paid 440 for it, which is good because they sent me a readjusted estimate a couple of days ago, and the current price for it is 470. So I made 30,000 in 6 months, essentially, hypothetically. So it's good. It's the hardest part is actually getting onto the market, I think. So for the next 15 years, whilst I've got Frank, as I said in the last podcast, I think, I can't even remember what it was. It wasn't burnout. While I've got Frank, I'm going to be looking at investing in structures and things like that, which will set me up for retirement. So that's my next goal. Well, my next series of goals, because I'm not going to be able to get on a flight or anything for a while. And I'd rather, rather than sitting on my ass and just lamenting not being able to travel, I'd rather turn my hand to more creative projects. So I'm looking into that. I have actually planned out a load of shit, but there's no point talking about it now until I know what's going on more thoroughly, and you won't know till you get there. But I think I will definitely carry on this sort of Spartan project to see how far it goes, and I'll be constantly tweaking to see what I can change and how I can make it better. I've already been recording. I've got 2 books so far which record what I have been up to over the last 2 years or so, with my spending and stuff like that, and my wages and all that kind of stuff. So that would be useful if I don't get it published or something like that. It would be useful for simply a reference for later on if I need to go back and check what I did and see how I went, and see if I need to pick up any skills or can think of anything else to add to it. So it's always good to write things down. Keep a journal. So what did I do this year? Oh, that's how I got there. Because I know my memory is not going to stay particularly good. It's not good now, but it's good to write things down so I remember. Another thing I did, a kind of thing, recently actually, I got just a $2 calendar from Red Dot. I got 2 of them. One of them's for what days I'm available in the term, because I'm a relief teacher. I get booked by the day, sometimes in advance, but mainly by the day. The other thing is mapping out when and where my bills are going to come from and what the amount is and stuff like that. So I know within a time frame from payday to payday, you're going to have this many payments come out, and you need to make sure this amount of cash is in the account. I used to budget my wages account to stay at 1,000 every time I got paid. I would keep it level at 1,000. Anything else I would skim off and stick into the savings account, knowing that all my bills and everything like that came under 1,000. Sometimes there would be overflow. Actually, most times there would be overflow, maybe 300 or so. So that following payday, if it was over 1,000 again, that would get skimmed and into the savings account. Everything always skimming. When I got close to actually buying my apartment, I was more direct. I was like, I will put aside 1,500, then I will try and make the leftover amount work, which was also doable. It wasn't that bad. Once your rents come out and your bills have come out, and you've taken out that 1,500, you can see maybe you've got 200 or something left over for the week, and it's more a visual. Okay, so we're not doing that today, or we're not doing that this week, because I'll wait till next time till it's accumulated a little bit more. I did work with a credit card. That was one of the first things I got rid of because I knew it was just a debt waiting to happen. It would be nice to have the backup. I always saw credit cards as like a backup in case something went wrong. But after credit card debt, when I left my ex-husband, 10 grand, I was like, fuck that. I would rather work with a Protestant work mindset than a Catholic one. So, save up rather than spend and apologise later. Which I think has been the best way so far. Even on paper, when you're applying for a house or paying off your car or something like that, or applying for a car, they'll ask what your liabilities are, and they see credit cards as a liability because potentially you could run up a debt in a week leading up to, you know, whenever. So it's always best to just not use credit cards if you can. Having said that, in the same breath, the paying for is of the same mindset, except there's no interest on it through PayPal. As long as you pay it off, you should be fine. I don't know what they do if you don't pay it off in the 2 months, because I've never got that far. But I wouldn't risk it. Make sure that you know that you've got the money coming. I'm going to have to cut this short soon because I've just got to the turn off from my parents' farm. So I think my battery might be running out. Other than that, I will be scanning my journals for the Spartan project and putting them somewhere. Hopefully as a reference point that someone can use or have a look at. It was fun. I thoroughly recommend it because it challenges yourself as well. It's not just a case of feeling like shit because you have no money, which I grew up with. It was a case of having money, but also you having discipline and the challenging of yourself to find strategies and ways to make it work better. That's what I actually loved about it. It was like a game. How can I make this go further? How can I make it do better? I don't want to waste this. I want to try this and swap this out and make it work. And I'll be using that for any kind of project in the future, I think, because it was just fun. It was gamified. Figuring out the kinks and the quirks of the whole system. That's where broke people, for example, who grew up in poverty are going to have the one-over of anyone who didn't grow up in poverty, because the people who didn't grow up in poverty were just like, this is all new to me, and you'll be like, I've done this before. New poor. They're not like us. But I found that funny. So I'm going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid, because I think my battery's running out. I'm going to have to see how Mum and Dad go. It's going to be an up and down week. If you don't hear from me, it's because something might have happened. Basically, to be brutally honest, given my dad's gone in for bowel cancer surgery, we don't know what's going to happen. My mum's busted a hip and can't really stuff around in the house. So it might just be a case of I've been incredibly busy and not be able to get to doing this or doing my other projects. So I'm hoping you guys have a fantastic Monday. It is Monday. Take it easy, and I'll see you on another day, hopefully with a better topic or